If you're an adult, if you own anything, if you have someone that you care about, then estate planning is something you should consider. Our financial planning team has created a mission statement. We want to inspire action to achieve financial security. Part of that financial security includes estate planning. And so hopefully throughout this presentation, we can give you some information to simplify it and generate these documents and understand the purpose of the documents. Let's look at what I'd like to call a life calendar. Each box represents 1 week in a 90-year life. Now, you're sitting here, so we've already checked off some of those boxes. How many more boxes do we have left? I want you to think about that throughout this presentation, and we're going to come back to it. Let's first talk about beneficiaries and the purpose of a beneficiary. When you were first hired on with the church, you were automatically enrolled in your 401k, in your Retirement Plus plan, and in life insurance. And because of that automatic enrollment, we have found that many participants haven't gone on and designated who their beneficiary should be. So we want to talk about the purpose and how and who to designate. As a primary beneficiary, we would say if you're married, possibly be your spouse. If you're single, a parent, or a loved one. An alternate beneficiary would come into play if the primary beneficiary was no longer able to. If you have 6 children, we would recommend you writing down all 6 children's names. You can go in and designate the percentage you want each child to have of, let's say, your 401k. Now, if you get mad at a child, you could go ahead and take that percentage down or increase, depending on which child's your favorite, but they do find out. I'm here to tell you that. Maybe another alternate beneficiary you could include would be a trust, if some of you have a trust. The purpose of a trust is to continue speaking for you after your passing. People who have high net worth, or those who may have special needs children who want them to be cared for after their passing. For tax purposes, a trust would be a good alternate beneficiary. Every circumstance is different. If you come in and talk to one of the planners, we can walk through your specific circumstances and see what's most appropriate for you. I want you to take 30 seconds and write down who your beneficiaries are, or who you think your beneficiaries are, on your 401k and your life insurance policy. All right, let's talk about our last will and testament, and the top 10 reasons why people do not create a last will and testament. Number 1, I'm too busy. Number 2, I don't like to plan for things. Number 3, for no good reason. Number 4, my family will do the right thing. Number 5, I just want to have fun. Number 6, I like to take chances. Number 7, I want others to make those decisions for me. Number 8, I want to leave a mess for my family. Number 9, I'm just too busy. And my favorite, number 10, I am going to live forever. Now, if you have found yourself in any one of those numbers, don't worry, you're in good company. 92% of adults under the age of 34 do not have a last will and testament. 1/3 of Americans would rather go to the dentist and get a root canal or do their taxes than create a estate plan or a will or update their will. 18% believe it's too complicated. 16% believe it's too expensive. And the complicated and expensive part, hopefully we will clarify for you today. We want to simplify that process and give you avenues of where you can go to create those documents inexpensively. 13% believe that their spouse will automatically receive their assets. And 6% think it's just too time-consuming. Now, Dallin H. Oates talked about good, better, best. And we want to incorporate that into the estate planning as well. Good is if you took a piece of paper and a pencil, wrote down your wishes with your wife, had a neighbor, a friend come witness those signatures. You had something in order. That is good. Better is if you use some estate planning online resource documents. We have listed some on page 15 on the right-hand side. My husband and I created a date night. Was it the favorite date night? No. Did we sleep very well after that date night? Yes. We created our estate documents, the 4 that we're talking about today. Took us about 2 hours at a very insignificant fee, but at least it was done. And then we can look at best. If you were to go to an estate planning attorney, he would sit down with you, cover all of these documents individually with you, and create them. So let's look at some people who may have passed away without a will. In fact, they did. We have Jimi Hendrix. He died in 1970. And with him being a musician, his estate continues to generate assets and income. But because he died without a will, his estate, they argued over it for over 30 years. We have Howard Hughes, the eccentric millionaire who died in 1976 at the age of 70. When he died, they actually found his will in the Mormon Church in Salt Lake City. However, later in Nevada, they proved that that will was invalid. He split up his assets amongst his 22 cousins. Abraham Lincoln. He was the first president to be assassinated in 1865, as well as the first president to die intestate. Now, intestate means without a will. And to bring some irony in this is he was a lawyer. So he had the ability and the assets or the equipment to create that. Let's talk about some who had a will. So a will, remember we talked about, can designate where and who you want your assets to go to. Harry Houdini. He left his wife a secret code in his will that said, when I'm in the afterlife, you use this secret code and I will come back to you. She conducted seances every year at Halloween without success. William Shakespeare. In his will, he requested that his wife receive the second best bed in their estate. Now, he's probably lucky he was dead, because she would have wanted to kill him if she had known she was getting the second best. The Star Trek creator, Gene Roddenberry, he wanted his ashes to be scattered in space. And my favorite, the Pringles founder, Fred Bear, requested that he be cremated and buried inside of a Pringles can. So looking at these scenarios, you're never too old, you're never too smart or too rich, and estate planning is for you. Hopefully, you are able to create a document with the information we're giving you today at a time that it's not even necessary. We want you to be prepared in advance, so when those circumstances arise, you're already ready for them. I want you to take 30 seconds and write down who you would like to be the executor of your estate. All right, let's talk about some healthcare directives. Let's talk about a living will would be our first one. Now, it's kind of deceiving. A living will is really how you want your end-of-life wishes for medical needs to be taken care of. We could also talk about a healthcare power of attorney. This is someone who would make healthcare decisions for you in the event that you became unable to do so. One other thing to think is the privacy authorization form. Have any of you thought about this? Your children are turning 18. They're becoming legal adults. However, we still pay for everything. They're going on missions. They're graduating high school. They're going to college. If we do not have this privacy authorization form in force, we're unable to access their information. Prime example, my daughter, who left to serve in Ecuador, had a prescription that she had filled by a doctor. I couldn't remember the doctor's name. I called up to DMBA and I said, hey, this is Lisa down in financial planning. I need to get the name of the doctor who prescribed this prescription because she needs a refill. They said, yes, just one moment. We're sorry you did not fill out the privacy authorization form. I said, you know who I am. I work for you. And they said, that's great. We do know who you are. We do know where you work. But we still need this form. I had to get the form to my daughter, who got it to the mission president, who signed it, who got it back to me, who got it back to DMVA. Can we access the information? Yes. If we have these documents in order in advance, will it make that access simpler? Yes. We're trying to save you a lot of aggravation and anxiety when you're in situations when you need these important documents. So let's take another 30 seconds and write down who you want to make these decisions for you. All right, last thing we want to cover today is general power of attorney. This is someone who can act on your behalf. They asked me to teach this course because I have lots of experiences where I've learned. My father, who had dementia and Alzheimer's, was in a care facility. I was helping Mom out with her finances, and we found out Dad had a credit card. It had a zero balance, but we wanted to clear everything out so we knew exactly where her money was going. She called the credit card company, explained the circumstances, and they said, sorry, you're not an authorized user on his account. We cannot do this for you. Mom, a little frustrated, I said, okay, we can take care of this. We went to the doctor. We had to get my dad declared incompetent. We had to take that letter from the doctor to the judge that showed my dad is unable to make these decisions on his own, and gave us the general power of attorney to be able to close out that credit card. Once again, we go back to, can we get around these documents? Eventually, we'll get to a point where we'll need them. We want them to be in order, so when those circumstances come, you have them ready. Let's talk about one of our own financial planners, Sean Eckert. He and his wife were in the process of refinancing their home. As we all do when we refinance or purchase, we watch the interest rates. We want to make sure we get the lowest interest rate we can. When they finally saw the interest rates drop to what they believed would be the lowest, Gisette was at girls' camp. She's in the mountains, no cell service, no access. What is he going to do? He went and he said, that's right, we created these documents a couple of years ago. He went to the safe, got that general power of attorney out, took it into the mortgage company and was able to sign on her behalf because she had given him authorization to do so. And they were able to lock in their interest rates. Now granted, we want to make sure when you're giving someone general authorization to act in your behalf, we want to make sure that you trust that what they do with that will be according to your wishes. Now let's think back to the chart we started out with, the life calendar. You've checked off so many boxes. We don't know how many boxes we have left to check off. But this is probably something we should start today instead of waiting off another day. And hopefully we have given you some resources and information so you can go home, speak with your loved ones about creating your estate plan. Now, when I meet with participants, I always tell them, if you don't put the day on the calendar, it won't happen. If anyone is like me, if I say I will get to it, eventually I will get to it, but it never gets here. So hopefully we have inspired you to take action towards your financial security. Thank you.